class in statistics. Today we will take up two more types of means, namely the weighted mean and the combined mean. But the combined mean is actually a special type of weighted mean. Also for today we will take up how to construct a frequency distribution table for ungrouped data. Now, the weighted mean is used when the data points or the values in a given set of data are assigned weights. The weights are numerical values that indicate the relative importance of the data points. The formula for calculating weighted mean is given by the following. The weighted mean is denoted by this notation, x bar sub w, where x bar stands for mean and w for weight. Hence, this notation stands for weighted mean. And it is given by this formula, summation of the product of xw divided by summation of w, where w is a data point, one of the data points, and w is the corresponding weight of the x value, one of the data points. The numerator is the summation of the product of x and w, and this summation of the products is divided by the summation of the weights. We consider one example on how to compute the weighted mean from a questionnaire that is usually used for survey, in which the respondents are asked to rate each of the indicators in the questionnaire using a rating scale. In this particular example, one of the indicators in the questionnaire is community quarantine is effective for controlling the spread of COVID-19 or coronavirus. Now, the respondents are asked to rate this particular indicator using this rating scale of 1 to 5, where 1 is the lowest rate that corresponds to their response of strongly agree. If they rate this particular indicator with 1, it means 1 means that they strongly agree to this particular indicator. And in this rating scale, the highest rate that may be given by a respondent is 5. If a respondent rates this particular indicator with 5, it means that the respondents strongly agree to this particular indicator. And the number of respondents that give each of these ratings to this particular indicator is given in this column. 49 means that 49 of the total number of respondents gave a rating of 5 to this particular indicator, which means that these 49 respondents strongly agree that community quarantine is effective for controlling spread of coronavirus. And 127 of the total respondents agree that community quarantine is effective for controlling spread of coronavirus, and they gave this particular indicator with a rating of 4. And 52 of the total number of respondents gave a rating of 3 to this particular indicator, which means that they slightly agree to this particular indicator. And 31 of the total number of respondents disagree that community quarantine is effective for controlling spread of coronavirus, for which reason they gave this indicator a rating of 2. And 16 of the total number of respondents rated this particular indicator with 1, which means that they strongly disagree to this statement. The total number of respondents is the sum of the numbers in this column, respondents column. And if you add, the total should be 275. And you can check that using your calculator. Please get your calculator. Let us add the numbers in this column. We have 49 plus 127 plus 52 plus 31 plus 16. And we have a total of 275 respondents who rated this particular indicator for some study. Now, this total number of respondents will be your summation of W. Now, why do we take the total number of respondents as the sum of the weights? If 275 is the sum of the weights, then these numbers 49, 127, 52, 31, and 16 are the weights. Because these ratings are fixed. For each indicator of the questionnaire, the respondents have to rate each indicator with these ratings of 1 to 5. They only have to choose one of these 5 ratings, and the number of respondents, it is the number of respondents that will vary. The number of respondents that will strongly agree, slightly agree, disagree, and strongly disagree will vary for each of the indicators in the questionnaire. Thus, we take the number of respondents as the weights and the ratings of 1 to 5 as our data points, denoted by X. And our number of respondents again will be taken as our weights. Now, to calculate the weighted mean, we first calculate the product X times W. We multiply X by the corresponding weight, or W. Hence, I will add one more column for the product XW. And you need to get your calculator again. We start by computing 5 multiplied by 49. We multiply 5 by 49 is 245. We write 245. Next, we compute the product 4 multiplied by 127 using our calculator. 4 multiplied by 127, and you should get 508. Next, we find the product 3 times 52. That's 156. Next, we have 2 times 31. 2 multiplied by 31 is 62. And 1 multiplied by 16 is 16. After you get the products, you add this last column to get the summation of x times w, or summation of the products x times w. We add this column using our calculator. We have 245 plus 508 plus 156 plus 62 plus 16, and you should get 987. Our summation of x times w is 987. And the summation of the product x times w, 987, is to be divided by summation of the weights. And our weights are the number of respondents who gave these ratings of 1 to 5. And we have added the summation of the weights is equal to the total number of respondents. Hence, for this particular indicator, the weighted mean is equal to summation of the products x times w, 987, divided by the sum of the weights, or the total number of respondents, 275. And you divide that and you round off your answer to 2 decimal places. We have 987 divided by 275. And you should get 3.589, 3.589. 3.5890. 90 is repeated without end. Now we round this up to 2 decimal places. Hence, after the decimal point, you count 3, and the third digit after the decimal point is to be rounded off. And that number to be rounded off is 9. Since 9 is more than 5, we add 1 to the preceding digit, 8. And so the weighted mean for this particular indicator is 3.59. Now, we verbally interpret this weighted mean of 3.9 using these intervals for means. These are the intervals for means, and we will use these intervals to interpret verbally the computed weighted mean. You can see that the interval size or class size of the first and the last intervals is less than the interval size or class size of the middle intervals. This interval, this one, and this interval. Because these intervals or for means should reflect the normal curve or the normal distribution of data. That's why we have this. We have more, we find in the normal curve, we find more means in the middle part of the normal curve, and we find lesser means either on the right or the left extreme of the normal curve. And our weighted mean of 3.59 is found in this range or this interval, 3.51 to 4.50. 3.59 is between 3.51 and 4.50. And this means that Generally, the respondents agree with an average of 3.59. The respondents generally agree that community quarantine is effective for controlling spread of coronavirus. Now, this process of computing the weighted mean can be done in Excel if you know how to use Excel, but you must have taken Excel in your basic computer course. But in statistical programs like the SPSS or the Statistical Package for Social Sciences, the arithmetic mean is used instead of weighted mean because the statistical programs can manage large amount of data. So it can compute the mean of the ratings of 275 respondents or even more. And we will take another example for computing weighted mean. For our second example, for weighted mean, consider the following. Glenn's has the following grades in the last completed semester. What is her average grade? For this particular example, we will use the weighted mean because the number of units for each of the courses of Miss Glenn's has to be taken into account when we compute her average grade. And in this example, when computing the average grade, we take the number of units for each course as the weight because it is the number of units of the course that will indicate the relative importance, the importance of the course relative to the other courses. Thus, we take the number of units for each course as the weight. And in this particular example, the subjects of Miss Glenn's in the last completed semester are microbiology, 5 units, for which she obtained a grade of 1.25. Parasitology, also 5 units with a grade of 1.75. STS or Science, Technology and Society, 3 units with a grade of 1.00. Biostatistics is credited for 3 units and her grade is 2.75. Genetics, 4 units, she obtained a grade of 1.50. And FCL or Filipino Christian Living is for 2 units and she obtained a grade of 2.50. We want to compute her average grade and we will use the weighted mean. That is why her average will be known as weighted average. Again, we take the number of units as the weights, denoted by W, and if the number of units are the weights, then the grades for the courses will be our X or data points. The formula again for computing the weighted mean, denoted by X bar sub W is equal to summation of the products X times W divided by summation of the weights or summation of W. Hence, the first step is to compute the products X times W. In this example, we multiply X by W or we multiply the grade by the corresponding number of units. Hence, we add one more column for the product X times W. And we multiply, we have 1.25 multiplied by 5. Use your calculator, 1.25 multiply by 5 is 6.25. For the second product, we multiply 1.75 by 5. Use your calculator, multiply 1.75 by 5. You should get 8.75. Next, we multiply 1.00 by 3, and that gives us 3, or 3.00. Next, we multiply 2.75 by 3. Two point 75 multiplied by 3 is 8.25. Next, we multiply 1.50 by 4, and that gives us 6, or 6.00. And lastly, we multiply 2.50 by 2, and that gives us 5.00. After we obtain the products x times w, we get the summation, denoted by this Greek letter sigma for summation. Hence, add the entries in the last column for summation of x times w. And we have 6.25 plus 8.75. I wish you are doing this calculation with me. Plus 3 plus 8.25 plus 6 and plus 5. And you should get 37.25. Now we are almost ready to compute the weighted mean. We just have to get the summation of the weights, or the total number of units that Miss Glenn has taken during the last completed semester. Therefore, we add this W column, we add the entries in this column, the W column, to get the total number of units, or summation of W. Summation of W equals 5 plus 5 plus 3 plus 4 plus 2 is 22. Thus, Miss Glenn had 22 units in the last completed semester. Now we get the computed mean. We have summation of x times W is equal to 37.25. And we divide by summation of the weights, or the total number of units, 22. And this gives us 37.25 divided by 22. And you should get 1.69318. 1.693181818. The digits 1-8 is repeated without end. But we round off this answer to two decimal places. So we count three digit we count three from the decimal point, 1, 2, 3, and the third digit from the decimal point is to be rounded off. If the number to be rounded off is 5 or more, we add 1 to the preceding digit. But if the number to be rounded off is less than 5, we simply drop this number and all the digits to its right. The number to be rounded up 3 is less than 5, so we simply drop 3 and all the digits to its right. And we do not add 1 to the preceding digit 9. Hence, the weighted mean is 1.69. Now, the answer to the question, what is her average grade? The average grade of Miss Glenn's in the last completed semester is 1.69. And this average is known as weighted average or weighted mean because it is based on the weights or the number of units she had for the courses she had taken in the last completed semester. The combined mean is used when you have several groups and you know the number of people or the number of individuals in each group. Also, you know the mean or the average for each group. But you can always compute for the mean or the average of each group using the arithmetic mean, which we have already taken. And you want to obtain the overall average or the average for all the groups. Thus, we combine the means or the averages of the several groups. And that is where we will use combined mean. The formula for computing the combined mean is given by the following. Denoted by x bar sub c. C stands for combined. X bar stands for mean. Hence, x bar sub c stands for combined mean. And it is given by summation of n sub I times x bar sub I, or summation of the products n sub I and x bar sub I, divided by summation of n sub I, where n sub I is the number of people or the number of persons in each group, and x bar sub I is the mean or average for each group. In the numerator, we multiply the number of people or individuals in each group by the corresponding mean of the group, denoted by x bar sub I. For our example, consider the following problem. The performance of students of Miss Pineapple is shown below. This is the given data in this table. The question is, what is the overall performance of Miss Pineapple's students? In the last completed semester, Miss Pineapple had 3 sections in medical technology. These are the MDP 1A, MDP 1B, and MDP 1C. In this table, the number of students in each group is also given. MDP 1A had 48 students, MDP 1B had 26 students, MDP 1C had 35 students. And the average, the performance of students of Miss Pineapple for each group is indicated by the mean, x bar, or the average of each group. The first section, MDP 1A, with 48 students, had an average of 83.68. The second section, MBT 1B, with 26 students, the lowest number of students had an average of 89.17. And the third section of Miss Pineapple, MBT 1C, with 35 students had 87.34 as average. Now, if you have noticed from this given information on the performance of students of Miss Pineapple, as the number of students denoted by N sub I increases from 26, 35 to 48, the mean X bar of the groups decreases from 89, 87 to 83. Again, it is evident from this table that as the number of students in the group increases, the mean of the group decreases. And this relationship between the number of students and the mean of the group, the number of students in the group and the mean of the group, is an example of inverse relationship or indirect relationship. That is, one variable, the number of students of the group in the group increases, while the mean of the group decreases. That is an example of inverse or indirect relationship, which reflects what is actually happening in reality, because in most schools it is harder for the professor or for the classroom teacher to manage classes with large number of students. And if a class with lower number of students is easier to manage and to supervise, and the teacher can even do individual teaching or monitoring of the students, and this can help the students perform better in a class with a smaller size. But in this problem, we want the overall performance of Miss Pineapple students. That is, we want a single average that will indicate the performance of all the students of Miss Pineapple in all the three groups. Thus, we have to combine these three means or three averages of the three groups of three sections of Miss Pineapple. Thus, we will use the combined mean given by this formula, where N sub I in this particular example is the number of students in these three sections of MedTech, denoted by N sub I. And X bar sub I in this formula is the means or the averages for the three groups. Denoted, this is our X bar sub I. And the first step to compute the combined mean, the first step to combining the three means of the three groups, is to multiply the number of students in each group by the mean of the group. Thus, we add a fourth column for the product N sub I times X bar sub I. For the first section, MDT 1A, we multiply 48 by 83.68, and we find that product using calculator. We have 48 multiplied by 83.68. You should get 4,016.64. 4,016.64. For the second section and BT 1B, we multiply 26 by 89.17. 26 multiply by 89.17. And you should get 2318.42. 2318. And for the last or third section of Miss Pineapple, MDT1C, we multiply 35 by 87.34. We multiply 35 by 87.34. And you should get 3056.9. 3056.9. In your calculator, you have 0.9. But if you want to write your answer to 2 decimal places, you simply add 0 after 9. So that all the products are written with 2 decimal places. Now, after you get the products, n sub I times x bar sub I, we now get the summation of n sub I times x bar sub I. And the summation is obtained by adding the entries in this column, the last column, for n sub I times x bar sub I, to get the summation of n sub I times x bar sub I. We add the last column, we have 4016.64 plus 2318.42 plus 3056.9 or 0.90, and you should get 9391. 391.96. And this summation of the products n sub I times x bar sub I is to be divided by summation of n sub I, or the total number of students in the 3 groups of MedTech. Hence, we add the entries in this column n sub I to get the summation of n sub I. And you add using your calculator. We have 48 plus 26 plus 35 equals, and you should get 109. Miss Pineapple had 109 students in the last completed semester. Now we are ready to compute the combined mean. The summation of the product n sub I times x bar sub I is 9391.96, and the summation of the products is to be divided by summation of n sub I, or the total number of students, 109. And we do the division using calculator. 9391.96 divided by 109. And you should get 86.16477. 86.1647770. The answer in your calculator is a non-terminating, non-repeating decimal number. and we round off the final answer to two decimal places. After the decimal point, you count 3, 1, 2, 3, and the third digit after the decimal point is to be rounded off. But for the number to be rounded off is less than 5, so we simply drop 4 and all the digits to its right without adding 1 to the preceding digit 6. Hence, the overall average or the combined mean of the three groups of medtech of Miss Pineapple is 86.16. The answer now to the question, what is the overall performance of Miss Pineapple students? You can say that the overall performance of Miss Pineapple students is indicated by the combined mean of the three groups of medtech, three sections of medtech of Miss Pineapple in the last completed semester. And that average or combined mean is 86.16. Now, this combined mean, as I mentioned earlier, is a special type of the weighted mean. If you take the number of students as the weight W and x bar sub I as the data points x in the formula for weighted mean, then the overall average or overall mean that you will have computed is a weighted mean. But it is also a combined mean. Again, this combined mean is a special type of weighted mean. If in this particular example you take n sub I as the weights, these are the weights, the number of students in the three sections of medtech. For your practice, please do the following exercise. Find the weighted mean of the responses of respondents for the given indicator and interpret. The indicator is wearing of face mask and face shield in public transportation. That's the indicator lifted from a study, and the respondents have rated this indicator using a rating scale of 1 to 5, and a rate of 5 where the highest rate of 5 means that this particular indicator is fully implemented, and a rating of 4 indicates that this particular indicator is often implemented, and a rating of 3 means that this particular indicator is sometimes implemented, and a rating of 2 means that this particular indicator is rarely implemented, and the lowest rating of 1 means that this particular indicator is not implemented. The number of students that gave each of these ratings is given in this column. So there were 13 respondents who rated this indicator with 5. There were 48 respondents who said that this particular indicator is often implemented. And the highest number of respondents in this column is 207. Hence, the greatest number of respondents said that this particular indicator is rarely implemented, and they rated this indicator with a rating of 2. And you will compute the weighted mean using this information. And after you obtain the weighted mean, you interpret using these intervals for means. If the mean, for instance, falls in this interval, if the weighted mean you compute is between 3.51 and 4.50, then you say that generally the respondents said that this particular indicator is often implemented. For in the next lesson, we will take up how to construct frequency distribution table for ungrouped data, because we do not have enough time for today. And if you have question about the lesson today, you ask your question in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe, or ask your friends to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Art Calizon. Thank you for being in my class today.